After a little 4th of July vacation, and as Cody said right before we started, let's effing go. It is Realities May Vary podcast that talks about whatever we want, whenever we want. I'm Brian Noonan. That's Cody Gough. There. All right. You're ready. You're fired up. You look good. You look serious. Something's going on. I don't understand.
Well, I
You
don't
look
need
very
a James Webb Space Telescope to
Wow. Yeah, that's the big thing, right? Today, the deepest pictures of space.
it is to see that you have an accoutrement, a decoupage, if you will, a bit of a vis-a-vis, a little bit of a
What the hell are you talking
what
about?
would we say? Perhaps a je ne sais quoi, some escargot that you've got going on right now. I
I
was at
didn't have
my
snails for dinner. I did not have I did not. I had leftover chicken and rice.
well, French has never been my strong suit, but
Maybe you
I
should get your friend in here, who is much better at French.
oh, Montesquieu.
Montesquieu.
Oh,
Maybe we get Montesquieu in here. He'll help you out.
I'm not sure he's available at the moment, but no,
All right.
I was picking up my lovely son from my parents' house who were watching him for the weekend for reasons we'll get into, and they said, "What happened to Brian Noonan?" And I said, "I don't know what happened to Brian Noonan." And they were like, "Well, did you see his Facebook and his Instagram?" And I said, "Well, no, I don't use Facebook.
I
or
don't use
Instagram."
those because Brian is an old man. That's why he's still on social media.
And I wasn't sure if I believed it until just now. You lifted up your arm and you appear to have been altered in some way that,
Yep.
Brian, we've got to get one of those signs that's like you rip off the date and it says like X days since a workplace injury. Like we've
Well,
got to get X weeks since Brian had some kind of moderate surgery
that's
on
right.
himself. What have
Yeah,
you
this
done?
was planned. This was not an accident.
Oh,
This was planned. It's been well, I had wrist surgery on Friday. This goes back. You know how good I am about going to the doctor.
very good.
No, not anymore. Well, I used to not be. So this has been a problem that's been going on for probably 2 years. About 2 years ago, I started noticing that my wrist was grinding, and it was getting painful to sign my name and do all kinds of stuff. This story is so gross that Cody has fled. He has fled the broadcast area.
I just step over to turn
He
my
doesn't.
fan up because it's about 8,000 degrees in my office, even with the air conditioning on.
That's no good.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, I noticed that it was starting to hurt when I would try to sign my name or write anything. Then over the last couple of years, it got really bad where like I couldn't push down on my right hand without my wrist hurting. I couldn't write my name. I couldn't do a lot of stuff. If I were going out to the, I'm sure part of it, I probably heard it back when I was going to the gym all the time. But like if I was cutting the lawn or doing the weed whacker, I had to put a really tight brace around my wrist. And so finally it got to the point where I was like, well, I should be able to use my right hand since I'm right-handed. And I'll probably have to sign my name again at some point. So I went to the doctor and we tried 2 rounds of cortisone shots in the wrist. And this guy, I liked this guy from the very beginning because he was like, all right, let's do some x-ray. Let's see what's going on. All right, here's what's going on in your wrist. We could go a couple different ways. He said, I wouldn't do surgery right now. Let's try the injections and we'll give those a couple tries and see, and then we'll go on. So I don't know what it's from, but at some point, my wrist, there was a severed tendon. There was, and I quote the doctor, this was a horrific amount of arthritis. That's what he told Debbie Friday. So my wrist was basically effed. There was nothing I could do with my wrist. It was horrible. So after the shots didn't work, he goes, all right, well, what we're gonna have to do is we got to do some surgery. He said, there's 2 options. He said, we did a CT. He said, I hope if the CT is right, we can do it the easy way. Here's the easy way. They go into my wrist. They take out 3 little bones, and then they just kind of set the bones together, and it takes a month to heal. That was the easy way. The hard way, plan B, if the CT was wrong, because one of the bones that has to sit had something on the side of it. It was okay at the base where it was going to sit, but if something was wrong, they were going to have to take out the 3 bones in my wrist, fuse the other bones in my wrist. It would be 8 weeks to heal. I would lose some mobility and all that. And he's like, but I got to know before we start if you're okay with that. Because once I'm in there, if plan A won't work, I gotta know what I can do. And I'm like, all right, well, what do you think? He said, well, at this point, I would go with plan B if plan A won't work. So, this had all been coming, and I didn't make a big thing out of it because, whatever. Because like you said, I'm having so many surgeries and everything lately. Really, when's a time that I'm in fine health? I have become this sad, stereotypical old man who only has healthcare stories to tell. There's it was my foot, then it's now my wrist. I got to have a lot of dental work done over the summer. All this, it's like, shut up. I used to be vibrant. Back 40 years ago, I was vibrant. Now I don't know what I am, but I'm not vibrant anymore. So we go in and it's one of these, again, this is not like, I remember I told you when I had my last foot surgery, the doctor was just shaming me because I had it done in a back room somewhere the first time I had surgery done. Mm-hmm. Well, this was being done at a surgery center in an operating room with doctors and antibiotics and all the things that one would expect from surgery. Even though at one point I had done things without surgery. So Sydney says
very official. Apart. All those things. Surgery center, a doctor.
Surgery center sounds official. It's very official. A licensed doctor, an orthopedic surgeon specializing in wrists and hands. So we get there, but Debbie can't stay because it's a small thing, and they're still worried. There's still a pandemic out there, Cody. People are getting sick all the time.
Wait. So what?
It's a pandemic, global pandemic. It's COVID. Have you heard of the COVID?
Yes, it rings a bell.
Well, people haven't talked about it much because it's gone away.
Didn't Miss
Piggy? Is that what you were going to say?
Didn't some presidential candidate say that they would get rid of COVID after like a couple months?
Yeah, that was a long time. Well, it's gone. It is gone. Nobody pays attention to it anymore.
Okay.
All right. But at the surgery center, they do, because you got to have a mask on, and they don't let people stay in the waiting room. And so Debbie drops me off, and I got to say, from top to bottom, everybody there was very nice. All the nurses who took care of me, but they ask you, because obviously I'm a senile old man who's falling apart. They got to ask me like 250 times what my name is and what my birthday is, just in case, like they're trying to trick me. Well, they didn't trick me. I knew it all the time. Then the doctor came in, and you can see he signed my arm. Do you see right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. He signed my arm so that they wouldn't operate on the wrong arm. So then they share the whole thing. So they go, all right, we're going to give you a nerve block. You ever had a nerve block?
I didn't know if that was a rhetorical question.
No, it's I'm asking you straight
You literally asked me a question like a human having a conversation. No, I don't. I think I didn't know that was a thing.
It's a thing. A nerve block's a thing.
Yeah.
Because the doctor said, well, that's what we're going to do. Instead of putting you under general anesthesia, because I'm big and it would take a lot of general anesthesia to knock me out, like an elephant tranquilizer. They'd have to let me run through the parking lot, and then they'd shoot me with a big tranquilizer gun, and I'd just drop.
It'd have to be a 5-star general anesthesia.
Oh, by the way, I'm on opioids right now while we're talking. So
let's go. Do you want me to do an edible?
At any point, I might just doze off.
You want me to do an edible to get on your level?
I don't know if an edible is going to put you on this level. I have slept more. This morning, I finally came to the office. I fell asleep sitting here at the computer, which is not unheard of, but I did. So yeah, I'm on some heavy duty, a stronger hydrocodone opiate than I was on when I had the foot surgery, like double the dose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so if at some point we just pull the plug, or I'm babbling incoherently, more so than normal, you might know. So they tell me again, everybody's very nice. And the anesthesiologist comes in. She goes, okay, here's what the doctor wants to do. He's going to put you in a twilight and we're going to give you a nerve block and we're going to jam that in right up. There's a big blue mark on my shoulder. That's where they go in with the nerve block. And it basically deadens your limb. I had one years and years ago when I had my knee surgery. This was so they tell me they're going to deaden my arm, but they're going to do that before we go in the operating room. I'm like, all right. So they give me the shot, and nothing's really happening. And all of a sudden, my fingers start to tingle a little bit, and then all of a sudden, there's absolutely no feeling whatsoever in my arm, none. They roll me in, and I don't know, maybe I'm susceptible to sleep. I'm overly tired, but they said, okay, we're going to kind of put you in your twilight sleep. And next thing I remember, I hear, Brian, wake up. Brian, wake up. Huh? What? I woke up, first thing out of my mouth. Did plan A work? All I remember, the doctor was going, yes, plan A worked. And they rolled me out. He told Debbie everything. Then so all day Friday and all day Saturday, my arm I had to have in a sling because it was dead weight. I couldn't shrug my shoulder. I couldn't do anything. I had to lift. I was lifting it, moving it around. It was in it. They go, you got to have it in a sling for your own protection, or something crazy is going to happen to your arm. And it was just whipping around. My arm, I think, weighs 275 pounds. Just my arm, based on how much it weighed when I was trying to pick it up. So there's something.
That's a lot. I wouldn't want my whole limb to feel numb, but
it didn't feel numb. It didn't feel anything.
Wow.
But here's the weirdest part. You've heard of like phantom syndrome when somebody has a limb removed and they can still feel it. Yeah. I could feel my fingers moving, and I'm looking at them with my brain. I'm going, move, move. And my fingers won't move. But I could feel them. Like at one point I was in bed and I thought my pinky was like my hand was laying on my pinky. That's what it would feel like. And I looked down, my hand was way off the pillow, but I was feeling all my stuff. I was feeling all my fingers. I was able to feel my arm move, and my arm, nothing. You could have poked it with a pin. I wouldn't have felt it. But in my mind, my fingers were still moving. And it was the weirdest part because I'm sitting there and honest to God, Cody, I'm staring at my hand. I'm like, oh, I'm twiddling my index and middle fingers. I feel them moving, and I'm looking down and nothing is happening. And my brain is like, move, move.
That's a lot.
Nothing. It was crazy. Crazy. Oh, Cindy, I knew you were just kidding. That's all right. So it's so now I'm on the opioids. I go back tomorrow. They're going to do my first post-op thing. Good news is because they didn't have to fuse them, I don't have to wear a cast. I'll just have a brace. 4 weeks, it'll be all done. I'll be able to, I'll have all my motion back. I'll be able to sign my name. I'll be able to carry my suitcase when I go to Ireland. So I wish there were more like crazy stories about it, but I slept through the whole thing. I didn't even get to see, like during my foot surgery, I got to stay awake and hear the grinding and all that and scream out in pain. This one, they woke me up, take me back to the recovery room. Another very nice nurse. The only problem is I'm not a good southpaw. I'm not good left-handed, especially when your other arm is completely like, I couldn't even use it like to brace a bowl to say nothing. It was dead. When I say dead, it was dead. Like pulling up your pants. You know what my biggest fear is? Only being left-handed. Think about it. My morning constitutional. You know what you have to do for your baby when he makes it his diety.
Flush the toilet?
No, before I flush the toilet. You can flush the toilet with both hands.
Wipe your butt?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
That would be, I've never tried that offhand before.
Maureen is guessing. People were guessing in the chat.
That took me so long.
It did. unbelievable how long
we have like a 20-second delay. We have a long delay between the time someone types in a chat in Facebook
Yep.
and the time we see it. At least 5 seconds, maybe 10.
At
And
least.
Maureen had guessed it before I got
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
good. That's impressive.
That's been the thing. It's like, oh no, it's
Yeah, and you know what our good friend Craig would say? Get a bidet.
I would listen. I would think about it, but you still have to dry it off?
I have no idea how they work, but drying off, I would think, would be
Drying off
easier
probably easier.
than
I joked
wiping.
with Debbie about getting one before, but so far that's fine. Everything is fine in that. But pulling up your pants with one hand. I wore gym shorts for the first couple days because at least they were easy. But I'd get them halfway up, and then
I know. No, when my baby was small, a month or two old, there were times when I'd have to hold him, and I would go to the bathroom and just hold him and go with one hand, and then get in your pants, even just fastened.
Yes,
tough. It's tough. It's
oh,
hard.
I haven't worn anything with buttons. Pants wise, I haven't worn shoes. I've been wearing my slippers. And tomorrow when I go to the doctor, I said to Debbie, I'm just going to wear sandals because I don't want to I can't put on shoes and have her tie my shoes like I'm a toddler. Cause it's already bad enough. I'm a horrible patient. I've been much better this time, but I don't like feeling helpless. And so it's very bothersome to have to ask for stuff. And like the first couple nights, I had to ask her to open the pill bottles. I had to ask her to, everything. Anything that I couldn't do with one. Brushing my teeth has become a two-handed endeavor. So like now I can hold it with my right hand, but I can't really do much with my wrist. So I hold the brush in my right hand and then I move my right arm with my left hand. It's insanity.
Well, speedy recovery. How long are you going to be like
4
this?
weeks, 4 weeks until, and then it should all be done. So that's good. And that was the big, nice to see your parents following me on social media. That's exciting.
One of them at least.
Checking out all of that. So they're, that's going on. So all right, we've got a lot because we were not here for the 4th of July. We don't want to talk about Highland Park. It was another horrible shooting, except that I do know a guy who booked me a comic. He was in the line of fire and did some interviews and stuff. And again, it sucks that that's happened. But did you have a fun did you do anything 4th of July fun wise?
I didn't do anything patriotic. I know that'll shock you.
Oh, I didn't say patriotic. I said fun.
That Saturday, I had a couple friends come into town. So that Saturday, every year I talk about the video game speed run marathon.
Yes. Yeah.
Games done quick. So I actually failed to mention that on our last episode. It was going on that week.
Oh, no.
It's because like all the games I wanted to watch were later in the week. So it wasn't even really on my radar on Monday when we recorded. But anyway, there's a video game speed run marathon called Games Done Quick. They do it twice a year. One's in the summer, one's in January. This was Summer Games Done Quick. And the last day was Saturday of the 4th of July weekend. And they had a bunch of games I wanted to watch. So 2 of my buddies had nothing to do. So they just came into town and we hung out and we literally watched video game speed runs. Also, coincidentally, randomly, WWE decided to have their Money in the Bank pay-per-view that night.
Really?
Yeah, which is a couple
on a holiday weekend.
Yeah, I know, right? And a Saturday. It was bizarre. So they used to be Sundays only, never holidays. I don't know what they're doing, but anyway. So we watched a little bit of wrestling and a little bit of video game speed runs, and hung out and drank all day. I mean, it's pretty much the perfect day for me. It was actually one of my Father's Day gifts was to have a full day of just watching video games guilt-free.
Right.
So my parents watched my kid that weekend. And then we can talk about this later, but then this past weekend was the main surprise for Father's Day. She took me on a little getaway.
Really?
Local getaway. Yeah, we went up there. So my parents also got some grandson time this weekend. So yeah, but then on the 4th itself, I'm in home improvement hell right now.
You've been mentioning over the last few episodes that you have some projects that you were starting. Is this the furniture project that you were starting?
It's all the projects that we started at the same time. Smartly.
Oh, you started more than one. Oh, the painting.
Mm-hmm.
Or the painting in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
That was one. The furniture up on the second floor balcony outside your office.
Hasn't even started yet.
Hasn't even started. So what's besides the painting?
The mountain of mulch.
Oh no, you had a mountain of mulch dropped on your driveway?
Well, that's over now. My
Okay.
wife found a place where a truck would drop off a truckload of wood chip mulch
Yes.
for free. For free. But you don't
Really?
you don't get to tell them how much. And it's wood chip mulch. It's like it's not ground up mulch, it's wood chips. So it's bigger and
Okay.
it's like one color, and you don't get to specify the quantity. It's unevenly cut up, but it's fresh wood chip mulch. And they came and they dumped like 20 square meters of,
Oh
it
my God.
was a mountain. So they
Well,
did.
you do have a lot of area to cover.
We have an insane amount of area to cover, and there's no way to get a vehicle in our backyard. So we get the wheelbarrow, and most of the mulch beds are in. So I live on, how big is my lot? It's like a quarter acre or something like that, like 0.23 acres, or I don't know. It's a healthy sized
Big
backyard.
yard. You got a big yard.
Big backyard, and enough front for me to have to mow. But some of the previous owners apparently were just gardening maniacs and just gardened all day. And the back mulch bed is probably at least about 10 feet deep from the back of the yard, full 10 feet.
Right.
And then some of it juts out a little further. And then on the side, there's another huge mulch bed that takes up like 10% of the yard. And then there's more. And then there's 3 big beds in the front. Yeah, arborist ships. I think that might be right. My wife wouldn't know. She's the former arborist. So anyway, the week that I randomly decided to rip off the wood paneling on that wall that my wife hated,
and
then we discovered just globs of wood glue and
oh yes, right,
construction glue and wood glue on our stucco walls, which then become a little hard to scrape off because they are stucco walls.
Yes.
The day I decided to do that, it was like that weekend we had this mountain of chips dropped on. Actually, it was 4th of July weekend they got dropped off. So I did it for like a day, and then my wife just started doing it. So God bless her. She spent a bunch of days in the yard the last couple of weeks, and she got it all done.
Wow.
So it's all of our beds are all laid up with these like 4 inches thick of wood chips. I mean, it is thick. If we get a single weed next year, I'm going to lose my mind. And that got done. But meanwhile, I had like 6 different methods of trying to figure out I had the construction adhesive wood glue on the stucco walls.
Right.
So we tried a hair dryer, scrape it off. We tried the Goo Gone kind of stuff. I tried scraping it with a paint scraper. Finally, I ended up buying a multi-tool.
Okay, what is a multi-tool?
A multi-tool basically vibrates really, really fast, and you can put a blade on the end, or you can put a bunch of different attachments, hence multi-tool.
Yeah.
But I took a little scraper attachment, and I took the multi-tool, and it basically vibrates super fast, and I just like put it at certain angles and moved it around, and I scraped off. I figured it's probably about 10 by 5 feet. So about 50 square feet of stucco wall that I'm a perfectionist with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I just went full, every little bit. And so that got done.
Now, what the stucco look like after you were done with that?
Oh, I mean, there were like probably 10 giant holes gouged into it.
Okay.
There was a fair amount of scrapes and everything. So now I'm in the putty clay phase. I've got they've got this amazing new putty, or I asked, what is it called? The you know what I'm talking about. It's you fill holes with
the mud
stuff. Yeah. So they've got this one, and it's pink, but you put it on, and it's pink, and
I love that
white.
kind. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yep.
Because they used a stud, or not a stud thing, a braid. They punched in braids into the wood to further attach it. So there were 50 nail holes that gouged out when I pulled them out.
Sure.
So I had to fill them all, but it was so nice with the pink stuff, because I could just fill them all with the pink and then go back and see where the pink was and then flatten them all out.
Yeah.
So that's going well, but that's like the next step. The problem is, Brian, that like this is behind our big sectional couch in the living room. And anytime I do anything, I have to throw all the plastic on the couch to make sure that the putty dust doesn't get on it and
Sure. Yeah.
everything. And I got to pull it out, move all the furniture, cover the stuff in plastic. It's the darkest part of the house is that wall. So if I don't do it during the day, I have to use like a fluorescent light, which I have. I think I actually got it in Roger's toolkit that Roger Badish gave me years ago, which was wonderful of him. So I've got a light, but I've got to either do it basically by candlelight, or I've got to do it in the day. But guess what? I have a 1-year-old, so that doesn't fly.
Yeah, no, he doesn't want you doing that.
Yeah, so I've had to like rearrange the living room like basically every other day to get it done. And we need a full day because like we're gonna get to the point where I'm finally done putting the clay down and I need to put primer on the wall.
Yep.
Well, to do that, I've got to move the couch and all the furniture on the side of my house because like the wall has archers that go to the side. And so like it's really probably 30 feet long.
Right.
About 30 feet long in my living room that I've got to do the top, and then the 10-foot by like 10-foot wall, and then the 2 walls on the side. And I want to put primer on the bottom half. Well, the top half is all painted. So I've got to put primer on the whole thing, then paint the whole thing. Somehow, while my son is like not around, but we're always around when it's
where does he go? Does he just go off? Like,
no, he
does.
does.
You act like he's going on a date.
I don't work when he's here. It's like it's not home improvement hell because nothing has like horribly gone wrong. It's home improvement hell because like I have no time to do it.
Right.
I have no time. And it's not like I'm gonna get done with work, go downstairs, move all my furniture, and then like get a fluorescent light and do all the painting. It was stupid to take on this many projects. And now we're going to move our son into the guest room in anticipation of his smaller sibling,
right,
who will move into his room. The guest room is currently storage for my office because my office closet, I'm standing in it. And it turns out it's a podcast studio. And also my gaming setup because I have a gaming laptop in there and a gaming monitor. So I need to get a new desk for my office. Like these are the most first world problems. But
you have become like the ultimate suburban. This is like a Chevy Chase movie. Mm-hmm. You've got way too much stuff happening. Now you bought the house and you were going to have one baby. Now you got another baby coming. You're like, oh, is there going to be room for, oh no. Yeah. You're going to be like, it'd be like the Brady Bunch. You're going to turn your basement into a couple bedrooms. You're going to have all kinds of, you're going to take that old garage that's attached to your house. That's going to have to turn into some sort of room. You know that.
I would love to do that.
That's going to have to be like your man cave.
Yeah.
That should be your office. And then, one of the kids will have the nice upstairs room with the
balcony.
Balcony. Yeah. No, you can't have a little kid with a balcony. What are you, insane?
I
you have a little kid with a balcony in their room.
I know. It's insane.
The whole thing's insane. It's all insane.
Brian. The whole thing's insane. But
so what are you prioritizing now? Are you just
trying to stay alive?
That's probably good.
Just
keep the kid alive, keep you alive, the wife alive.
Honestly, I'm prioritizing. Well, like I said, the mulch is done. My wife has done a phenomenal job with the yard. It's beautiful. She's planted all this stuff. She has a vision for it. She's going to get a rototiller, and we're going to take out some of the beds and put grass down and put some like maybe moss down in some other places, so we have less mulch action to deal with because we just can't weed it. She won't let me use Roundup because of like environmental.
Did she lay down stuff? Mike asked this. Did you put down stuff under the mulch? Did you put that weed screening stuff, that weed fabric under the mulch?
Nope.
All right. Well, I'm sure the weeds won't come through there then.
The wood chips.
I'm sure they'll respect
the wood chips, supposedly, because of the material they are and the thickness or something, they absorb all the nitrogen from rainfall and stuff.
Okay.
So because it's so thick, I mean, it is literally like 3 to 4 inches thick everywhere.
Dense. Sounds dense.
Insanely dense. Theoretically, it should absorb all the nutrients before they get down. So it would have to be a crazy powerful weed to make its way through.
Well, I want to meet that weed. If it does make it through, I want to meet that weed and shake its hand.
Me too. This segment, by the way, Not sponsored by, but I just got to give a shout out to our good friends at Revolution Brewing. I'm
What
drinking
are you
a
drinking?
Sun Crusher Summer Ale.
Ooh, those are good. Those Sun Crusher Summer
They're
Ales.
refreshing. I like it.
Yes.
Revolution, man.
Nothing like your natter days, but
Revolution is my go-to for like all times of year.
June 22nd, we got Coconut Death and some other stuff coming out. Friday, June 22nd or July 22nd.
It's that soon. Oh my God. I'm so excited for their Deepwood series.
Yep. Coconut Death. I can't wait to try that.
New cans, new artwork, just like, oh my gosh. Anyway.
Oh, no. Marta says, don't put landscaping fabric under mulch. I don't know. Listen, I'm not a landscaper. They're going to argue. Now people are going to argue about that in the chat. Get to share your knowledge. I don't know. We've become farmers. We have that planter that's outside. We've actually harvested some cucumbers. We've been eating cucumbers all week.
Us too.
We've been harvesting. It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah,
fun?
It's great.
Oh my goodness. I feel like so we've I think Debbie pulled 2 strawberries. We had 2 strawberries the other day. But we got the peppers are coming, the eggplants are coming. All our cherry tomatoes are on there. They're all green. They're getting red. But man, oh man, I'm going to tell you, the cucumbers, fantastic.
Nice.
Fantastic. So this was all Debbie's idea, all her thing. And I was like, are you happy with how your farm is going? And she's like, yes, very happy. So we've got some banana pepper or some hot peppers that are growing on there. Everything's looking good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we don't have mulch like you, though. Go ahead.
No, can I say in the chat, Sally said that she tried the dill pickle beer from Bloomington that we mentioned.
Oh, did she?
What is the name of that dill? I can't remember the name of it. I wrote it down somewhere, but you know, it's funny. I went to Binny's the other day to try and find that collaboration that
Distill Brewery is who did it.
That's right.
Yeah. DESTIHL Brewery.
That's right. I got to go back to Binny's. I went to Binny's last week during one of my several Home Depot trips this week. And I was looking for Goose Island did the collaboration with Microphone Brewing.
Yes.
Remember that 2-pack? And they didn't have it at the Binny's I went to. So, but I forgot to ask about the pickle one. Thanks for the reminder, Sally. I'm going to check that out. Oh, I love that beer.
That beer was good.
Well, Brian, the thing with the house is that I'm on a timeline because I'm hosting Ice Bag John's bachelor party.
That's right. I forgot that that's coming up.
Yeah, in 3 weeks. Boy. So I have a 3-week deadline to get all this done, which is where some of the stress comes from. Because I want to do it right. I don't want to just throw some mud on the wall and then paint. I want to make sure that it looks kind of like the stucco wall is continuous and not like there's like 25 holes in it, Okay. So anyway.
Now, would you... Knowing Ice Bag John in the little way that I do you think he will, do you think any of them would notice that maybe your paint job wasn't perfect? I get that you want to do it perfect for your wife and for living in the house, because it would drive me crazy if I was, that's why I hate painting. Because if I make one mistake, I focus on it. But, I wouldn't worry about it for your bachelor party pals.
I am not doing it for my wife. I am doing it for me, because if it were up to her, I would just paint right now. In fact, I would have just painted over the adhesive. Like, she does not care.
Really?
She is like, just paint over it. Don't be a perfectionist, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I live in this house. We own this house. If I'm going to rip a bunch of stuff off a wall, I'm not just going to cover a bunch of garbage adhesive with paint.
No.
So that it looks like
oh my
trash.
God, that would look horrible.
It would look horrible. I mean, she's like, well, I'm going to cover it with paintings and pictures. She has this whole vision for what she's going to do. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if the couch covers it. No. She's like, just chip it above where you'll see it. I'm like, I'm not going to just do a good job on a wall and then do a crap job below where the couch is. So when people move the couch out, they're like, oh, who's the moron?
Right. So you can never get new furniture? Because you have to leave that couch there forever till the end of time?
Yeah, no.
Ooh.
No.
I'm 100% on your side on this.
Thank you.
I would not know. You can't half-ass it. This is a job you got a whole ass. This is your house. Pride of ownership.
There are I don't know if it's the most previous owners of this house. Some people who lived here at some point in time in the past did a garbage job of some stuff. Like there's a chair rail in my office that is complete. Like it literally, you get like halfway down the wall and it slants down like 20 degrees and there's a giant crack in it. There's like every room we painted had paint splotches in the corners from other times it was painted. Like very little care was given to the detail. Like in the garage, you can see the chimney because there's the chimney that used to be exposed part of the house. Well, you go in my garage now and the chimney, the side like 4 inches just covered with white paint. It's this beautiful red brick and there's just a streak of white paint on it. And it's like, you guys couldn't have put like one piece of tape down to like not paint all over this nice exposed brick. Like, it's just like that stuff drives me nuts. And so like, yeah, if I'm going to do a wall, I'm going to do it right. And I got the multi-tool. I went through 4 carbide blades. I spent like $100 on carbide blades because they kept getting dulled out and starting to rip off the stucco. So I had to be careful. And yeah, I mean, but I'm doing it myself. I'm not going to pay somebody to paint it either.
Nice. Good for you. Look at you fully embracing the home ownership, the pride of ownership, the suburban man taking care of your family, making sure that your cave is up to par for your crew.
Thank you.
It's very nice.
We've got a lot of other stuff to get to. I didn't even ask you how your 4th was.
No, well, hold on. We got to go back. It's Sucker Punch Pickle Brine Ale is from Distill. It's their dill pickle sour. Made with Sucker Punch pickle brine. Yeah. Sally said it. I had it up on the computer here as well. So thank you, Sally, for that information. But yeah, so that is let's see. Boy, Sally says mulch rots. I don't know. Listen, I've put mulch down and wood chips down at different houses, and sometimes it works. One time at our house in California, I put all this plastic down, and then our backyard at the house we bought was all kind of overgrown. And when Molly was making her first communion, everybody was coming out. So I'm like, I'm going to get this all taken care of. I started cleaning it out, found like 8 rose bushes back there that had been completely overgrown. There was like a rose garden. I was like, holy shit. So I end up cleaning it out and I lay down plastic, and then we were going to put rock. I was hauling 50-pound bags of rocks from Home Depot for 3 weeks. It was and then you got to lay down the plastic and then you got to pour the rocks so the plastic stays down. It was, oh my God, it was a nightmare. So I don't envy your tasks at all.
We're doing that.
That's the kind of stuff you do.
No, we are putting rocks on the side of the house.
Oh, are you?
Yes, that's another next thing.
Are you going to have them? Are you going to have them delivered in bulk and just dumped on your driveway? I would recommend that.
Yeah. Okay.
And just shovel them into your wheelbarrow rather than getting the bags. Because the bags you got to load and unload into your car. At least if they just dump it, all you got to do is shovel it into the wheelbarrow and take it to the back.
No, it's just the side of the house.
Oh, the side of the house.
It's literally on basically when you step off the driveway, and there's a little path on the side. That's where
so it's probably not that much then.
Is it
a lot?
We figured 150 square feet.
150 square feet of rock?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how many's in a bag. Probably 3.
I don't know.
It's going to be a lot of rock. You're going to be hauling a lot of rock.
I know.
Busting rocks in the hot sun. And nothing makes a man feel more like a man than a cold bottle of suds after a hard day of work. That's
Marty. Marty, you can share whatever links you want to in the chat.
Yeah, we'll link.
Someone link the Hunter Biden data dump that came out today. I want to see that.
Yeah. Oh no, we do. Listen, we're not sponsored by a competing landscape firm, Marta. It doesn't matter. If another one does sponsor us, then we'll remove it. But right now, it doesn't matter to us.
There you go.
Maybe these people will see their thing and they'll go, "Hey, this must be a landscape podcast. We want to get involved in that." These guys are talking about landscape and trimming trees and whatnot. I made sure I got the grass and everything done last Thursday before surgery.
Good.
I did the whole, I got to get everything done while I have 2 hands. But then I'm thinking, I can cut the grass with 1 hand. I figure this week I probably won't because it hasn't really rained. So it won't, but then I'll start cutting it again by myself. What am I going to do? I got to do 4 weeks. I can't do anything. Not going to happen. No chance.
Oh,
what happened with Hunter Biden? I missed that today. I've been sleeping like a lunatic.
That's cool. No, I'll get into that in a second.
Yeah,
I forgot a big part of the stress of the wall is because I wouldn't let my wife do anything with it, because when you're chipping off adhesive, I didn't want to. I mean, she could have done that, but
You don't want to breathe in any stuff.
she doesn't want to breathe in any stuff. And I'm not obsessive about that.
Oh,
I wanted to make sure it was done, like, not like right, because she does a good job of stuff, but like I really did have I
yeah, yeah.
wanted to do it. And everything else, there's no way. No, I don't want her to mess with the putty. I don't want her to paint.
Here's the big question though. Big question is, last time we talked, there was she wants it some dark color again. She wants a really dark color. Have you come to some sort of compromise?
We have, I think, slash hope,
It's
because
black now.
I think she's going to let. I think that she's on board with the name I want to name our daughter.
What?
Yeah.
Hildegard?
Yeah.
Wow. So wait, you get to pick the name and the color?
No, she picks I'll do the color. I just decided I'm not going to fight that battle. And either she decided she's not going to fight the name battle, or she's just telling me that she's okay with the name to make me feel better so that I paint the color. And then once it's painted, she'll say, actually, I want the different name. And then we'll.
Yeah, you lost the name battle.
So
I'm telling you, this is a con. And you know I respect your wife, but she's conning you. She's going for the, all right, I'm gonna take the short-term win in the color, and then I'm gonna take the long-term win in the name. Because there's no way that those two decisions are on equal ground. Absolutely, because you can paint a wall every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
You can't rename your baby well, you could rename your baby every 6 months, but that would become very, very cumbersome.
I don't know. I don't know.
Voldemorticia, is that the name you wanted for your baby daughter? Am I close?
Dilbetta.
Dilbetta?
Yeah. Named after the Dilbert.
Dilbertia?
Yeah, Dilbertia. Ooh, there you go.
Dilbertia.
There we go.
That's fancy. No, you're getting conned, son. You're getting this is all gonna go against you. You're gonna think you won a battle. You didn't win anything.
I know.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Once that young baby pops out, she's gonna be the first one in the room with it, and she's gonna be the one to tell the nurse what the name is.
Well, before I get into the news reel today, the news cycle. What did you do? Did you do anything fun for the 4th?
I almost drowned. Yeah. No, we went to Michigan because Debbie's aunt and uncle have a home. Looks like you froze. I think you froze. Yeah, Cody's gone. He's all froze up. Nope. You'll have to try to come back, Cody. I can't hear you and you're not moving. Anyway, so yeah, my wife's family, her aunt and uncle have a home on Lake Lapeer in Michigan, which is I've only been, I think I'd been to the house twice. They'd been up there a few other times. They do a nice 4th of July, everybody who lives on the lake, and it's a private lake because it's very bougie to go to a private lake house for 4th of July. But everybody who lives on the lake contributes to the fund for the 4th of July. And then they've hired this same company, I guess, according to her uncle, for years. And it's a professional company, and they come out. So everybody pulls their boats up to a certain spot on the lake, and then the fireworks go off. And I'm a sucker for fireworks. I've always loved fireworks. I don't know why. Because I'm a child and I'm a simpleton and I like seeing things explode in the sky. It just makes me very happy when I see those things happen. So we decided when Debbie's mom had died, and we went down to North Carolina, where her sister lives and where the funeral and stuff was, her uncle had said, well, why don't we think about getting together for 4th of July again? So we decide, Debbie's like, well, we're going to go. Welcome back, Cody.
Hi, I'm back.
You're back. You had froze up.
Yeah, my little internet decided not to play along.
Yeah. So I was just saying, to answer your question, we went to my wife's, Debbie's uncle and aunt own a house on Lake Lapeer, which is kind of a private lake. It's a big, big lake, but you can't be on the lake unless you own a home on the lake. And they shoot off fireworks every year. They hire this company and they come. So we go up there and they have, I hadn't been up there in probably decades. Debbie hadn't been up there in forever. So we were going to stay. And the part of it was Debbie's birthday last week too, on the 3rd.
Happy belated birthday.
So thank you. I'll pass along your good wishes.
That's
so part
two
of the
prime numbers, 7 and 3.
7 and 3. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Fascinating conversation.
Wow. That put some numerical breaks. Your numerology put a big break on the conversation. I don't know I don't know where to go with that.
I'm all math and science with the JW ST going on today. So, but yeah, back to you. All the messages disappeared. I can't see what all the Facebook chat.
Oh no, I guess you're out of luck.
I'll reload anyway.
Where
in Wisconsin is this?
This is in Michigan, the Michigan part of Wisconsin.
Oh, where in Michigan? Which Michiganian part of Wisconsin is
It's kind of in the middle. So it's near Flint, not far from Flint. We drove by. I wanted to show Molly the hotel where our wedding had been. That has been torn down. So now it's just a big vacant lot. So she didn't get to see that. Because part of the plan was on Sunday, we were going to go to Frankenmuth, this Bavarian village in Michigan, where they have these 2 restaurants that do family-style chicken dinners. And it was kind of a thing when I met Debbie's family. Every Christmas, the whole family would go for these chicken dinners. And so Debbie wanted to go for her birthday, and I was down because they just keep bringing chicken. It's the best. It's just a phenomenal meal. Phenomenal. So you could eat chicken till you explode. Back in the day, I could probably rival Colonel Sanders for my killing of chickens.
Wow.
When I ate there. I would eat chicken until they came home to roost. And then I would kill all of them that came home to roost.
Wow.
It was horrifying. Yes. And there is a big Bronner's Christmas World, which is, to say it's a gigantic Christmas store is not even close. It's a Christmas lover's wet dream. And it's all religious based, but there's the commercial Christmas is in there too. But so that's all there. Anyway, so we go to the lake and, they've got the pontoon boat, which for the record, if I were ever to live on a lake, pontoon boat is the way to go.
Yes.
Pontoon boat. Come on.
I was thinking this yesterday, literally.
Am I wrong? It's the best way to boat around a lake.
Yes.
You can relax. Some of them have grills and coolers.
Mm-hmm.
They do go fast enough to pull people on like tubes because I saw them doing it. But you could just relax on the pontoon. Just go out in pontoon all day. That's the way to do it.
You can get one with a little water slide.
Yes.
I mean, they pontoon boat. No, they're legit. There's a sneak preview. My last weekend was eerily similar in many ways to all of what you're describing.
Really?
So let's get going.
All right, let's compare some notes. So they have a speedboat, they have a pontoon boat, they have some jet skis, and Molly was so. Can I sidebar this? This is how I wake up. I got up at like 5:00 Friday morning because we wanted to leave before traffic and stuff. Molly had left Asheville, North Carolina at 3:30 Friday morning to meet us in Michigan. Somewhere about an hour out, she got a flat. And not just a flat, a complete blowout where the treads come off, the whole 9. Her car does not come with a spare. The Kia Souls do not have spare tires. Debbie's doesn't. I just learned. Molly's doesn't. So she's in the mountains of North Carolina. Thank God the story has a happy ending because she was able to she drove like on the rubber that was still left and the rim. She got off the interstate. There was a little town. There was no gas stations, but there was a Goodyear commercial tire place. So she parked in the lot at like 4:30 in the morning, and stayed in her car until they opened at 8:00. She had started calling us at would have been 3:30 our time. I never have my phone on at night. Never. Debbie doesn't have her phone on at night. We realized we need to, now when we know Molly is traveling, we need to leave because she called us. We're not answering. It's 3:30 in the morning. We're asleep. She finally called my sister-in-law, who's on the same time zone, woke her up. They were giving her advice, basically the same advice I would have given her. Are you safe? Yes. Are you in the parking lot of this place? Yes. Stay in your car. And when they open, you'll be fine. Turns out she stays there. The place opens at 8. The guys are really nice, but when Molly tells a story, of course, they all have really thick hillbilly accents, and they're married to their cousins and all this kind of stuff. But she does also say that they really helped her out.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, she was out of her mind. So she's like, the guy goes, well, we only have commercial tires, but I'll call like a half hour away is a retail place, because there were a couple tire stores close. None of them had a tire. He goes, if they have a tire, I'll go get it for you. I'll drive the hour round trip and get it for you. And she said, in the meantime, like, all these guys are coming into the commercial tire place with their big trucks, and they're like, what do you got, a flat there? And they're all trying to, be helpful, but she said, I have to learn how to be more gracious when people are trying to help me. So long story short, they call this place. One guy came in, he goes, what? And hearing Molly tell it, he's like, I think my friend Troy might have one of them tires laying around at his house. Let me call him, see if I can wake him up. He might just have a used one laying around the house. And I'm thinking, who has tires just laying around their house? Troy obviously did. Anyway, the owner of the shop found it. They had the very last tire in her size at this Goodyear warehouse. He drove the hour round trip to get her the tire, put it on, and I'm thinking they're going to gouge her. They didn't. They charged her like $150 for the tire and the installation and everything else. And she made it to Michigan. So, but I don't know what I would have told her. I can't help her when I'm that far away. I can only give that advice, and it sucks. I don't know if have you ever had your car break down in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, on the way back from Drake one time on I-80, and God bless him, state trooper came, showed up, helped me out. The car died, and it was like -10 outside.
Oh no!
So I had a blanket in the car, and I wrapped up in a blanket, and I called AAA, I think, because my dad had a membership. So but I remember it was, for some reason, it was warmer on the I wanted more room to stretch out, so I moved to the passenger seat, wrapped up in a blanket, and I'm just sitting there in 10-degree below weather, just with a dead car. The battery died or something.
Oh.
And state trooper comes, and I'm sitting there, and he's like, what the hell is this guy doing? And
what are you up to? Freak?
God bless state troopers. I mean, I know they give you tickets, but they really are a godsend for a lot of people. Cars broken down, and people that don't, like, in that situation, right? They
what are you
help
gonna do?
A lot of people. Yeah.
No, and Mike asked if she has run flats on her car. No, those they don't. I don't know what. I didn't realize that the car didn't have, because I didn't go buy it with her. She and Debbie went and bought it, and Debbie has one too. And I was like, what do you mean that doesn't have a spare? Because every guy who came up to her at the place, well, don't you have a spare? No. And we have towing insurance, so she could have called our insurance and gotten towed somewhere, but she was in this little town. There was nowhere else to go at that hour. So, but anyway, she made it. So that was the big thing. So now Mike's got a suggestion. Put it on Do Not Disturb with just her number. That's probably true. That's what we got to do. I got to do something. I hadn't even thought of it, to be honest. So I only had my car break down once, and this was before cell phones. And it was like in West Virginia somewhere. And I blew the serpentine belt coming home from a gig in the middle of the night. And I was able to get off the expressway to a gas station, and same thing as I had to sleep in the gas station, but I couldn't get a hold of, I couldn't call, because back then you had to use calling cards, and I knew Debbie was asleep, but I wasn't going to call the house. So it was, but it sucks. Anyway, so we're at the lake. Everything's lovely. Molly's like, hey, will you go tubing? Did you go tubing this weekend, Cody?
Nope.
You get pulled behind a boat on anything?
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, I thought tubing was like a black inner tube, and you held onto a rope and they just pulled you around the lake, they had some things that you lay down, but they had this thing that looked like a giant lazy boy, like a love seat, an inflatable love seat that 2 or 3 people could sit on and hold the straps, and the speedboat would pull you behind it.
Oh, that sounds rad.
It was, because Molly's like, will you go with? And I'm like, yeah, okay. So, but I hadn't brought a bathing suit. I hadn't brought anything because I was like, I'm not going in the water. My foot, my wrist, all my maladies. And then I'm like, after being there just Friday afternoon, I'm like, I want to go in the lake. I'm going to run. There was a Walmart. And I said, I'm going to run into Walmart, into town. Because when you're at the lake, you always got to go into town. It's not just, I got to go into town. And her aunt goes, hang on a minute. I went to Walmart the other day and I found a bunch of bathing suits on clearance. They were all like $6 and I bought it. See if any of these fit you. And I pull one out and it's perfect for Trump country lake living. It was red, white, and blue, stars and stripes. It was Murica covered my ass. It was beautiful. And I was like, this is perfect. Because I had a Captain America shield t-shirt, my red, white, and blue stars and stripes pants. It was nuts. I said, all right, Molly, I'll go on the thing. We went tubing. And Debbie's cousin's husband is like late 30s, early 40s. And he's over there a lot because they live right by. And he does a lot of helping my Debbie's uncle with the boat because he's getting old. He was driving. And we're on this thing, and it is crazy. He's flinging us around, and we're flying up in the air, we're bouncing. It was great. So I'm like, this is fantastic. And so Saturday, we're doing that. Debbie goes, I want a kayak. They have a kayak too. And I'm like, okay. I take the kayak down. They help me. I wash all the spiders out of it because she was freaking out. Get all the spiders out of the kayak. And Debbie takes off on this kayak. I leave. When Debbie goes on the kayak, I decide I still have to run into town to get something else. So I leave and I'm coming back like an hour later and I get a call from Molly. Mom's not back yet. What do you mean Mom's not back yet? She's still out on the kayak. Like, where the hell did she go? Nobody knows. Before I get home, it turns into a big, like, all points bulletin for Debbie on the kayak. Where is Debbie? She's somewhere on the lake. Nobody knows. Her uncle sends Molly out on the jet ski to go try to find Debbie. Go find your mother and see if you can find out where she is. Before Debbie had gone out on the kayak, her uncle said, make sure you kind of keep the shore to your right because that's the way traffic goes on the lake, counterclockwise. Well, Debbie took him literally. And instead of cutting it, like if there was an inlet, instead of just going across the water, she would go the whole length of the inlet along the shore. I get back just as Molly is pulling back up on the jet ski, like she's Pam Anderson in Baywatch. She hops off the jet ski and goes, I found Mom. Like, alive or dead? Because George, her uncle, had said, tell her I'll bring the boat and we'll tow her back in. She's like, no, she said she's fine. She's just out there paddling her ass off. I'm like, okay, well, she was paddling her ass off. She hadn't taken a bottle of water. She had not put on sunscreen, nothing. Oh. So now, a little over 2 hours later, we see her, and it was like we were watching the Titanic come in. We're like, there's Debbie on the horizon. And here she comes. She's paddling away, having a great time. She's paddling. She gets back, and we're like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm just a little tired. I was doing fine, though. I was paddling along and talking to people, and I could see, like, she's already beat red.
No.
And I'm like, oh, tomorrow's not going to be a good day for Debbie. Tomorrow's not going to be good. But she did that. Sunday is the day I almost drowned. So we go eat all the chicken. We come back and Molly wants to go out on the boat again. Everybody wants to go on the boat. And Molly's like, will you go tubing with me? Yeah, I'll do it again. It was fun. Well, unbeknownst to me, there's a slow leak in the back of this love seat of a thing. So the Saturday when we were doing it, it was fully inflated. Like you couldn't, fully inflated. We get on Sunday and the back was not fully inflated. So I hop on and I'm like, ooh, this doesn't feel like it did yesterday. And Molly's on there And all of a sudden, I'm scooching back to get in position to hold thing. And you ever been falling backwards and you know you're falling backwards and there's nothing you can do about it? My feet start going up in the air and I'm like, oh shit, I'm going in. I flipped feet overhead in a backward somersault. The whole giant inflatable love seat flips over. Molly's on it. She flips over. I'm going in the water, and my first thought is, I'm going to get trapped underneath this, giant inflatable. So I kick out. I come up, and I see Molly's already up, and she's like, she hops back on the boat, and they're like, all right, now you got to get back on the boat. I have zero strength in my right hand. I look, and we had to be, I don't know, I'll say a quarter mile from their house. I contemplated swimming it back.
Oh, man.
Because I can't get on this boat. There's a tiny little ladder. I'm swearing, and her uncle is like looking at me because he's very Christian. And, I'm like, I apologize for swearing, but this is how I process things. I end up getting myself back on the boat, and then we plop back down on the love seat. We did tube some more, but going backwards and watching my feet go over my head, knowing there's nothing I can do, I'm going in the lake, which was fine until Molly was like, "Your hair looks crazy." But I did not drown.
Wow.
I survived the lake. Debbie survived kayaking. All right, what lake were you at now? Where are you laking?
So 4th of July weekend was just chores basically and yard work. This weekend, my wife surprised me with a little day. Well, not a day trip. We stayed the night Saturday in Racine.
Ooh.
Have you ever been to Racine?
I've been through Racine. I don't know if I've been there. I've never stayed there.
Okay. I knew the name Racine from
Racine, Wisconsin.
Taking calls from people at WGN.
Of course.
Well, Racine is north of Waukegan.
Yes.
Right? Wisconsin?
Yeah. Racine, yeah.
Yeah. So we drive up. She didn't tell me where we were going. She dropped off the kid Friday. Saturday morning, we go up. And we go up kind of along the coast. You end up kind of along the coast of Wisconsin. Go up through, not Waukegan, Waukesha. Right?
Yeah.
Waukesha. I think it's south of Racine. Whatever is just south of Racine, we go past there. It's kind of cool. And we look on the right, and on the right side of the highway, there's all these houses, and the houses are all along the lake. Nice. And you just look out, and it's like there's lake. Like, I mean, imagine in Chicago, just imagine living on a house right on the lake, Lake Michigan, but you just go 20, 30 miles north, and you're in Wisconsin, and that's the houses. And they weren't real. Most of them weren't real fancy houses. A lot of them look kind of run down, honestly. But in terms of the view, I mean, you got Lake Michigan. You're on Lake Michigan. It's pretty crazy. So we're driving up. I'm like, this looks pretty cool. And we get to Racine. Racine is so it was great. The reason your story reminded me, because you mentioned the big Christmas store. We stayed at a bed and breakfast, the only bed and breakfast in Racine, and it's called the Christmas House.
I just saw that as I pulled up Racine. I saw the Christmas House B&B. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's
we stayed in the Christmas House. We stayed in the master suite there. It was really nice, and the lady that runs it is really cool. And what do we even do? We kind of walked around downtown a bit. We checked out a couple things. We had some tapas, some really good Spanish tapas that night. And then the next day we went to the lake, right? Because that's what you do.
Sure.
And she wanted to go to North Beach, which is this, the big public beach. But the B&B person running that said, oh, there's a kind of a private beach almost, I consider, 5-minute walk from here. You just go right down the hill over there, and it's just a little. So we went, and it wasn't real fancy, but we were the only people there.
That's
and it was a nice, warm beach. And eventually a group of 15 people came and started kayaking, actually. So another random connection. But it was in kind of a little inlet, and there were all these, nice houses lined up on kind of a cliff, basically overseeing this little beach. And we just laid on the beach for an hour. But that was that was a little surprise. And then on the way home, my wife knows that I love antiquing.
Do
And
you really?
I do. I love, I mean, we're thrifty, right? So at any
Sure.
used anything store, but there's an antique mall in Rockford. I think it's called Hidden Treasures. And we went and we spent like 3 hours there or something.
Really?
Just not this weekend. That we did that months ago, but there was so we looked on the route and she said, we're a little ahead of time. Your parents aren't expecting us till later. Let's look up some antique malls. There's an antique mall right outside of Racine, right when you get out, called like something School Antiques, and it's an old elementary school.
Okay.
That half of it is a daycare and the other half is an antique mall.
All right.
But we went to this like crazy antique mall and saw this. That was cool. That was on the way out, but it was just a nice, a little romantic, just kind of, reconnect, get away from the kid kind of a thing. And it was great. But
Did you go in the water?
I put my foot in the water. It wasn't warm enough, I don't think, to. So I'm a beach bum. I don't get in the water.
Really?
If I'm in the Caribbean or if I am near the equator, I
Yeah.
am in the water nonstop.
Okay.
But I'm not a lake water. Like I've never gone to the North Avenue beach and dipped my toe in the water.
Really?
Ever. I don't go in the lake water. It's always too cold.
Are you a skurd?
No, it's cold and dirty compared to other. No, it wasn't dirty in Racine, but I don't know. I don't need to get in the water to have a good time.
Okay.
I don't know.
Would you like to be on the water?
Yeah.
Like, so a boat would be okay.
No, dude, I told her, and I was thinking pontoon boat, right? I told her, I was like, literally, if I could own a house like this, I wouldn't need it to be on a beach. I wouldn't need to be getting on a lake. But like when we retire, I want to live on water.
Yeah.
I want to have a house that is on water. We're talking like 100 feet from water and up on a hill, preferably. So not everything rusts and falls apart in the house, but sit on the top of a hill overlooking water. That is my dream, like a Lake Geneva thing or whatever. It doesn't have to be like Lake Michigan, just a big lake. And ideally, if there's a dock, I want a pontoon boat and I can take it out whenever I want. And I can bring all my friends. We can drink and we can listen to music. That is my like vision of adulthood. If there was more water out here in the western suburbs, I would do that. But I also, the other problem is though, like if you look at properties in Brookfield, anything along the river, you got to pay like $15,000 a year in flood insurance.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. And that's not really like what you're describing is what I think of too. You want a place that, if you have a place on the river in Brookfield, are you really going to have a pontoon boat?
Right.
Right.
No, not there. No.
Right.
So, but I don't know. But what I'm saying is, I don't know insurance wise how expensive it is everywhere. My understanding is it's kind of an Illinois thing where you've got to have like it's mandatory flood insurance.
Crazy flood insurance. Yeah.
But I don't know. And like, right. If you live in Wisconsin somewhere and you're like 50 feet up, it's one thing to live on, on it. But like if you're up on kind of a cliff, like no one, it's not going to flood.
Right. And like where Debbie's aunt and uncle are, they're on a lake and their house is, their backyard goes down to the water, but their house is up. Their house isn't, the lake gets manually raised and lowered through a dam. Like in the winter, they drop the level so that the boats come up and, so they're not going to flood there. Right. My brother's cabin up in northern Minnesota, his property is the water, but his house is, up here. He walks down through his backyard to the water. So, yeah. But I'm with you that the pontoon boat is the way to go.
Yeah.
If you have a lake house, you got to have a pontoon. I don't need to, I'm not Sonny Crockett in Miami Vice. I don't need a cigarette boat. One of those boats that's going to go really fast. I'm not pulling any snow skiers.
No.
But I did see the pontoons kicking up and pulling some tubers around.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, that's fast enough if you want a tube.
Yeah, and there were some boats out, but there was a fishing tournament called Salmon-a-Rama going on.
Salmon-a-Rama?
Yeah, so I'm guessing a lot of boats were deeper. They went out further to do the fishing stuff.
Yeah.
So probably beyond sight. I would love to learn more about Racine if anybody in the chat knows anything about it, because it is a weird place. Because Brian, like, it reminded me of a cross between Galena, Peoria, and I don't know, somewhere else with water. Like, there's all these Victorian homes. I mean, the Christmas house is from like 1820 or something.
Nice.
Tons of tons of 19th century homes.
Yeah.
And then, in various states of repair or disrepair. And then you've got, so there's these big mansions and then like little rundown houses. You've got a bunch of abandoned industrial stuff, tons of abandoned factories, and just like, overgrown parking lots and stuff.
Right.
It seems like a very like integrated town. Like we'd walk down a street and I'd see some characters that, face tattoos basically, but there's like a Mercedes Benz and a Jaguar driving by.
Right.
Not to cast aspersions on people with face tattoos, but like,
I think I'm going to go out of, I'm going to cast an aspersion.
Okay, there you go. Right.
If you have a face tattoo, you've made a choice.
But like, I never knew if we were in a nice part of town or a extremely violent part of town.
That's how Kenosha is too. And it's right.
Oh, really?
It's just south of Racine. They're the two big lake communities right there. But yeah, Kenosha, whenever I'm there, and I'll be there in a couple of weeks working at the Kenosha Comedy Club, a little plug. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, right down here by the water in downtown, it seems really cool. And then it's not really cool. And then it's,
Yeah, but there were parts by the water that didn't seem really like it's a very strange. I couldn't get a read on it. I'm like, is this like a Rockford I've seen better days kind of town? Is it a like thriving, they have stuff going for them kind of town? I know that they were a big shipping hub and that basically Canada wouldn't have iron if it weren't for, or like parts of Canada wouldn't have iron if it weren't for the Racine ports and stuff. So I know that there was a lot of the history there, but yeah, a very unusual mix. Sally in the chat saying a mixture of many, big time poverty, wealth, and crazy downtown, an unusual mix. That's the sense. I could not get my bearings. I was very like confused the whole time.
That is weird. But
I got to ask you this, Brian. This is the main thing I actually wanted to talk about from Racine.
What is it?
Every person that we talk to in Racine or from the area, their conversational style was just to launch into endless stories and never ask a single question.
Really?
And it was very pronounced. It was not an isolated incident. This was every person we encountered. Like, we went to a jewelry store and the woman went into great detail, very specific detail for a very long time about fixing her air conditioning unit. So she's like, sorry, I've got the windows shut. I've been fixing the air conditioning unit. Well, I had there's three parts. There's the condenser, the compressor, and the something else. And so I was taking apart these three things, and you can get one of the parts for I called the place. And so I was on the phone with the guy, and he said, well, it'll be this much. And I said, well, I'm not going to pay that. So instead I went to this website, and here's this website you got to remember. And she told us this website 9 times. Don't remember the name. So you can usually buy this part for $180. Well, I bought it for $9. So I bought it for $9. And all you got to do is you got to turn off the circuit breaker, and then you turn off the breaker, and then you take this off, and then you do this. But I called tech support for this other place because I couldn't get the breaker working. Well, okay, we got the breaker on, and then we tried to run the air conditioning unit. Nothing. Okay, so we turn off the electricity, then we turn it on, and like literally play-by-play detail for like 10 minutes. We're just like, please, just like let us like buy this thing. And then a few minutes later, we somehow changed the topic. And
I would love to know how that happened.
Because I was like, because it's something, I don't remember what it was. And she said, yeah, I got Jimmy John's for lunch, and I said something like, yeah, boy, fast food's really expensive these days. She's like, I know, isn't it? It's so pricey. I just went to Jimmy John's. It was this much money. We went to McDonald's. It was like $15. And then she goes, yeah, and the other thing was, so I called tech support, and I was trying to get on the phone with the air conditioning guy, and I'm asking him about these parts. So she just like takes like a sharp right turn. We started talking about like the economy and prices, and then just like hard U-turn back into like not even the cost part of the air conditioning service, but back into the tech support call. nothing to do with where we had taken the conversation from like 20 minutes ago, right? Just right back in there. And Brian, I swear to God, this happened everywhere. This happened with like this other dude that just like, yeah, I tried out he's talking about his football career in college.
What?
And no one asked us a single question. This was like at a video game store we popped into. It was like at the B&B with at least 2 different people. It was insane. And so I asked a couple friends who live in Wisconsin. I'm like, is this a Wisconsin thing? And one of my friends' girlfriends said, oh yeah, it's kind of a small town Wisconsin thing. So I can't confirm or deny this, but Brian, it was and you're a well-traveled man, especially around the Midwest.
I'm worldly, Cody. People call me worldly.
I figured you would have some insight into this, but it sounds like this is news to you.
This part is news to me. One, because I don't like to talk to people. So I don't really come across these kind of things because I'm antisocial.
Okay, wait, hold on. I got to stop you there real fast. I texted 2 of my friends in Wisconsin and said the same thing. I was like, blah, blah, blah. People keep telling us stories. Is this normal? Both of them specifically texted me back and said, I try to avoid talking to people. You just did the same thing. I screenshot both of their texts and sent them to each other and said, you just word for word said the same, and you just did the same thing.
Right.
So this is insane to me.
Well, you bring it on yourself because you're welcoming, because you try to, like, I don't know. I've been all over Wisconsin, all over. And because when I did stand up, I worked every town in Wisconsin. Right. I still go up to Milwaukee. I'm like I said, I'm going to Kenosha in a couple weeks. I don't remember that, but I also don't like socialize when I'm out. If I go shopping or something, I keep to myself. If I go to get something to eat, I keep to I'm not rude. If someone speaks to me, I speak to them, but I don't know. I've never been bombarded with a story. And if I were, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably just feign a heart attack to get out of it. Like after that woman went back to her air conditioning story for the second time, I would have feigned some sort of medical emergency to get myself out of there.
No, we had to stay because we were buying something, but literally my takeaway from the trip, it was a fun trip and we had a really good time and we have stories from the trip because of the characters we encountered.
Yes, people in Wisconsin are friendly. I will say that. Yes. I knew.
Yeah, they were friendly, but not a single question. I mean, at the bed and breakfast, we had breakfast with like 8 people. No, not a single person asked us why we were there, where we were from.
They saw you had Illinois plates. They didn't want to get involved. They don't want to talk to fibs. They don't want to hear anything about your state where you can get marijuana and where women have choice. They don't want any of that. They don't want to hear any of that falderall.
There was a letter to the editor in the Lombardian saying that Illinois is the cannabis and it's a newspaper. The Lombardian.
I know it is. The Lombardian. I picture Vince Lombardi editing it though.
No.
He had a big fedora and a top coat. Some guy with horn rimmed glasses, typing it out with 2 fingers.
The letters to the editor in the Lombardian, there's usually like 2 to 3 that are like kind of sane, seem like they're from good, decent folk that are thinking about the community. All the rest are like your old cantankerous 93-year-old, partly senile uncle that's really angry about politics and watches either Fox News or CNN all day. And there was a letter recently that said that people are after I don't remember if it was the abortion law or something, but people are going to start sure going to flock to Illinois because we're the cannabis and abortion mecca of the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
Which the phrasing of that, the mecca, and I'm like, that's just.
Well, that wording came right off a commercial from the primary, from one of the guys who lost, not Darren Bailey, who's going to lose because he's completely anti-choice, but one of the others said that Illinois had become. Thanks to Governor Pritzker, Illinois had become the abortion mecca of the Midwest. I'm like, wow. I've seen a lot of tourism commercials for Illinois. They have not broached that topic. Come see the Lincoln Monument. Come see historic Springfield. Come have abortions. It's the mecca. They don't say that.
Well, my takeaway was I am never going to move to small town Wisconsin because I don't think I could handle it.
We came to the same conclusion about Michigan.
Really?
Because, well, sure, when on this picturesque lake, and where I got to say, Debbie's relative, her aunt and uncle's house, it's it's one of those where you pull up and the house looks kind of from the front looks regular. The back is all windows, and they're at a part of the lake where they have this very deep view of the lake. It's beautiful, just gorgeous. I sat out there in the morning, sat out there in the evening. It was great. Just like 5 houses down on the curve of the lake, a home that had done like a little beach. They had tiki huts. It looked great. Everything was perfect except for the giant "Let's Go Brandon" flag that was hanging and flying over the lake. That and many, many as we drove through rural Michigan. Our governor's an idiot. We Americans vote for Trump. All this stuff. Turns out her uncle may have a MAGA hat at his home. In fact, he does. According to Debbie's cousin, she said to Debbie, because Debbie came up to me and goes, he's got a MAGA hat on the hat rack. And I was like, yeah, I saw it. Nothing ever came up. There was never any discussion because I guess his daughter, Debbie's cousin, and his wife had tried to hide the hat before we got there and then told him not to say anything while we were there. No fighting. Nobody's talking. And politics never came up.
Nice.
We all had a lovely, lovely time. Except, every time I looked over as I was taking in the serenity of God's beauty on this lake and thinking, oh, there's not a care in the world. The "Let's Go Brandon" flag. Because you're so clever. And all the little things as you drive through. And I'm like, I couldn't. This is crazy. Because before, if your neighbor didn't agree with you politically, they didn't have big flags hanging outside. You didn't know. So everybody could just get along. Now it's like, ugh. But, I sat out there, drank some beers. A lot of people wearing Crocs up in Michigan, too.
Oh,
Are Crocs coming back? They must be big in Wisconsin, I'm guessing, too.
Well, they're big. They're big. I don't know. They're
Are
big,
they big?
Some places.
I noticed, well, around the lake, I guess it kind of made sense.
Wait,
to me.
let me grab something to show off.
Please, yeah.
Let me grab a show and tell item.
I want to see a show and tell item.
But continue talking about Crocs.
No, because I thought Crocs were a thing of the past. I never had Crocs.
They're still around. Me neither. Be right back.
Oh, they are. They are still around. Debbie and Molly used to have Crocs, and when I got up there, there were a bunch of Crocs on the deck because the people who were going on the boats, a lot of them wore Crocs. I went to a sporting goods store because I was looking for some cheap water shoes. And I almost, for a second, I saw a pair of red, white, and blue star-spangled Crocs. And I thought, oh, these will match my red, white, and blue swim trunks and my Captain America shirt. And I will be completely overly symbolic of America. But I did not get the Crocs. I got a $10 pair of those water shoes because I thought, well, they were a size smaller than my shoes. And I thought if I have to, I could just cut the toe. That'll be fine, and that'll work for me going on the tube and stuff. But yeah, so now, but then because I mentioned Crocs to Debbie up at the lake, jokingly about how I almost bought these red, white, and blue Crocs, now all over my social media are ads for Crocs. So I'm looking at these, and I said to Debbie, "You had Crocs, right?" "Oh yeah." And Molly had them. They had lined ones. They had the little pins because Debbie's nephew had Crocs, and he had the little pins in there, the gibblers or jiglets or whatever they call them that they put the little pins in the Crocs. I'm sure you've seen them. People who got to decorate their shoes. I did, Mike. I did have a cigar by the lake. I had asked permission. Because a lot of people, because Debbie's aunt smokes and Debbie will smoke once in a while, but a cigar is a different kind of thing. And so I said, hey, is it okay if I, fire up a cigar either here on the deck or I'll go down sitting next to the water? And they're like, oh no, you can. And then as soon as I fire up the cigar, there's a couple comments here and there about, and I wasn't smoking a $2 cigar. I was smoking a good cigar, good cigar on the deck, watching the lake at the sunset, drinking some beers. It was perfect. Just perfect. All right. What do you got for show and tell, Cody?
Okay, hold on.
This is exciting. I don't think we've ever had a show and tell.
Yeah. We literally ran into like not a convenience store, but kind of like a little gift shop after we grabbed lunch when we got to Racine,
Yeah.
and weather was pretty nice, by the way. A little chilly the first day, and we literally, my wife just wanted to run in and grab a little bottle of water. But what I then found, they had a little liquor section, just a tiny, I mean, like 10 bottles of liquor, not a lot. But they had this thing. My friend Guy lives in Wisconsin, and he has brought this to my house before. It is from, it's produced in Fitchburg, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Produced and bottled by Yahara Bay Distillers. And it is called, what is it even called? Yahara Bay Distillers, Art of Cocktails, 3 Gear RD. I didn't even know what it said. You can see the logo there, but it's that.
Ooh.
Yahara Bay is a bourbon old fashioned.
Oh, it's all mixed.
It's a premixed old fashioned, but it is so good.
Really?
Like, I can drink this straight on the rocks. It's got a little bit of sweetness, actually a fair amount of sweetness. But they've got a bourbon old fashioned, and this is a different one. It's a brandy old fashioned.
The brandy old fashioned.
So if you ever are up in Wisconsin and you see this, buy it. It's so good. It's like $20 for one of these bottles.
You got to text me the name of that stuff.
For a 750.
Because I love old fashions.
I can't even tell the name of it. I think it's 3RD Gear or 3 Gear RD.
Well, take a picture of it and text me a picture of the label.
I will know. This is like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I need to buy this. Like,
so were you just sitting on the porch of the B&B drinking those?
Haven't opened it yet.
Really? You didn't have a cocktail up there?
No, what did I do? I mean, like, to be honest, I've barely drank since my wife got pregnant. I've bought like 2 6-packs of beers the last couple months. It's not even because of her. Like, I haven't felt like it. I don't know. And
well, now I can't this week because of the meds. We bought, I don't know who we thought was going to be drinking up at the lake. We bought so much booze, and her aunt and uncle don't drink, and her cousin doesn't drink, and Molly really doesn't drink, and her sister doesn't drink, and the nephew is only 11, so he's not drinking. We brought a case and a half of beer. We brought 3 giant bottles of premixed margaritas. We got an 18-pack of High Noons for Molly, who I think had 3 over the course of the weekend. We ended up bringing so much beer back and stuff because, like, food that we brought, we left, but the beer was like, nobody's going to drink it, so we might as well bring it home.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, that's part of lake life too, is to along with the pontoon, the cigar, the cocktails, and the barbecue.
Bring way too much. Yeah. Yeah. Real quick, Marta said back label where the distillery is Yahara Bay Distillers. I just couldn't, and they're from Fitchburg. I just don't know the name of this drink. It's I guess maybe it's brandy old fashioned, but you know what I mean? Like, it says
it's third gear. I think it's third. I think it's third gear.
Third gear. Look at that. I'm an idiot.
I think it's third gear, Cody. Third gear. Yeah, that's Yahara is in. It's the spirit of Madison, they say. That's what they're saying on their. They've got a badger in a suit drinking a cocktail. That's part of their logo. Dude, yes, I'm going to go with third gear.
Next time we hang, I'll give you a sip. It's and the bourbon one's it's not sweeter, but just there's a slightly different.
Dude, they also make an apple brandy old fashioned.
Oh man,
they get a brandy old fashioned, bourbon old fashioned, apple brandy old fashioned. Then they have it in the nice fifth too that you can just put in your pocket. You know, the little bottle, thin bottle. So like if you're a booze hag, you can walk around. Yeah, that's not $24. They got a rye old fashioned. Yeah,
I got the brandy one for 20. One of them was 21, the other was 23. So yeah, they're good price.
I'll have to get some of that.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm gonna bookmark that. I'm bookmarking that right there. Put a bookmark. Because I said to Debbie the other day, I said, oh, you know what I want to do? I got to get to this summer. I want to go to a supper club in Wisconsin. I've talked to the guy who wrote the supper club books and movies. I've been up at people that I know in Wisconsin always talking about supper clubs. I'm like, we got to go to a supper club. I know it's just a restaurant, but there's something about the old fashioned and the relish trays and the whole thing, a monster sized prime rib. So this summer we're going to do a one nighter up at a supper club.
Dude, my parents go all the time because
do they? Oh yeah, they go right across the border.
Yeah.
Where do they go?
Wherever's probably in Beloit or outside of Beloit.
Oh, a nice Beloit supper club.
I would imagine. Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. Yeah, Mike. See, I know how to lake live. That's what I was built for doing nothing. I really financially I still have to do stuff, but I was really built for relaxing. I went into not the big town. I went into the big town for Walmart and Kroger and Meijer, but I had to get ice. So there's no gas stations around or anywhere. So they're like, well, there's a little town about 2 miles up, Hadley, and it's got 2 stores and a stoplight. That's the town. So I went to the general store, and Debbie's uncle goes, "You're not going to believe the liquor department in this place." It was like a world-class liquor store in the middle of nowhere. Just this tiny little Hadley, and Molly and I would do, it's Hadley. Because Molly and I, we'd do a little Blazing Saddles. Nobody else got it. But yeah, I go in to get ice, and I'm looking, and there's this older woman in there, and it's just liquor as far as the eye can see, and not rot gut liquor, like high end, where you could, you go in there with a fancy palate and come out pretty good. Plus, they had a lot of jerky, which is always good. Some boutique jerky and high end liquors. You gotta like a boutique liquor and jerky place. We had a lot of jerky.
It sounds like it.
We did, because Molly stopped at Buc-ee's. Have you ever heard of Buc-ee's?
No.
Buc-ee's is a cult throughout the South. It is it started in Texas. It's a truck stop / travel plaza on acid. I had heard of Buc-ee's before. And remember I told you about that place, Wally's, that had this, they copied Buc-ee's business model.
Okay.
Buc-ee's inside, they're cooking up fresh brisket and pulled pork and all sorts of food. They have a gourmet jerky deli where you can buy your jerky by the pound, fresh made jerky. Everything from those Yeti real expensive coolers to a million kinds of soft drinks to everything. So Molly's on her way to Asheville for her vacation, and she calls me. She goes, "You're the only person I know who would appreciate this. I found a Buc-ee's. I'm at Buc-ee's in Richmond, Tennessee." And I'm like, I've heard of this, because she had a roommate who was from Texas in college who would never stop talking about Buc-ee's. Just, it is down there. It is like a cult. And so she's telling me, she's very excited. She was upset that she had already eaten lunch, because she was like, I got to have this brisket. I got to have brisket. And so I said, well, she goes, on the way back, I'm going to stop. So she put it in. She had to pass back through Richmond again on her way to Michigan for the cabin. So she planned out to stop it. Even after all the tire stuff, she was going to Buc-ee's, and she was going to have that brisket for lunch. So she comes, and she had bought like 4 kinds of beef jerky at Buc-ee's and some of Buc-ee's yogurt covered pretzels. And she had all this Buc-ee's stuff. She bought a pair of Buc-ee's pajama pants for herself. She goes, "These are my new lounging pants." And they're, because you could get stuffed animals with Buc-ee, you can get dog leashes with Buc-ee on it. It's everything. So yeah, we were eating a lot of Buc-ee's jerky, which was very tasty.
Nice.
But again, it was weird because nobody up there drinks except Debbie. So we were the only ones, drinking. And then I feel weird. I'm like, well, part of me wants to have a beer at lunch. If I'm just sitting on the lake, what do I,
Yeah.
No, I can't do that. I got to be respectful.
Yeah.
So, but that was good. So yeah, it sounds like you had a lovely time in Wisconsin.
It was
so
good,
now you've got your old fashions.
Mm-hmm.
You've been exposed to small town culture. Yeah, I wouldn't want to live in a small town either. I'm with you.
No.
Too much everybody knowing your business. You
I
know?
don't mind that. I mean, I don't know how small it is. It just the culture was not for me.
Yeah.
And I guess the takeaway is, look, if you're listening, you're from Wisconsin. Hey, that's great. If you got friends in Wisconsin, that's great. But know that is it normal to just open a conversation by just telling someone a detailed story for several minutes and never asking a question? No,
No,
it
it's
is
not.
not. It is a thing that is local, and maybe that works for you and your community, but it does not work for everyone. And just be mindful of that. That sometimes places are different.
No, and like I've said, I find Wisconsin and the Wisconsin people to be very, very welcoming and fun, and I enjoy Wisconsin quite a bit. So to hear that, I was looking to see if they sold your hooch at Woodman's, right across. Kenosha Woodman's is where I go for my bootleg,
Oh,
beers, where I go to bring home my new Glarus across the border, like I'm
yeah.
smuggling. According to this, it does not. It also doesn't show anything in Racine, and we know that they do sell it in Racine because you bought it in Racine.
Hmm.
And you like how I say Racine rather than Racine?
I don't know how to say it.
It's Racine. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to
Did I
check
say
that out.
what did I
Oh,
say?
you got a buddy in Madison, don't you? One of your
I
buddies
got
is in Madison.
several, yeah.
Yeah, maybe when they're coming down, we'll put in an order.
I mean, I'm gonna see my buddy in a few weeks. Actually, I'll put it in order. That's fine. I
See
mean,
the one
if I
coming
see
down for the wedding?
what wedding?
Oh
Which
no, that's in September. The one we're babysitting your kid for.
no, that's in. Oh, are you babysitting my kid for that one?
I think so. I guess your lovely bride and my lovely bride talked about it,
Oh, okay.
and she said, "Oh, it took." I said, "Yeah."
Hmm.
Cody mentioned the. I don't know if it's fresh baked jerky. I just Marta, some words come out of my mouth that don't really mean anything. Yeah, it's fresh baked. It's dehydrated. It's freshly dehydrated beef jerky. So yeah, I think we're planning on him being here that night.
Cool. For Iceberg John's wedding, I think
I guess that's the one. September
September
something.
9th.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go. Yeah. I was gonna ask you to watch them tomorrow, actually, but we ended up deciding otherwise.
No can do, brother.
Yeah, I'm glad. That's good to know. I'm glad that worked. Well, because tomorrow I'm going to see a concert. I didn't think my
Ooh.
wife would want to go, and then like she heard I had played some of their music, so I was like, "Oh, you won't be into this." And then she's like, "This sounds really fun. I would love to go." And I was like,
Oh, what
well,
what concert?
I'm gonna see the Cult
Really?
at the Riviera Theater. Yeah,
You are an emo child.
am I?
Yeah. See the Cult?
But actually, Ice
Aren't
Bag
they an emo
John,
band?
I don't think so.
I
No,
believe
they're
them to be. A
no,
lot of
they're not.
mascara. Come on.
What are you talking about? No, my Iceberg John bought me a Cult CD in high school, and I listened to it a lot in college. I liked it. And I don't know, earlier this year, I was just kind of thinking, I'm like, what bands did I really like growing up that I haven't seen live? But I only got one kid now. It's my last chance ever to see the bands. So I had gotten the Metallica ticket, seeing them at Lala in a couple weeks, and then I just Googled the Cult, and they were coming, and they're coming to not the Cure. Yeah, maybe you were thinking the Cure.
Man, I'm thinking The Cure. Yeah.
Yeah, the Cult is better. But so the Cult, yeah, they're playing at the Riviera tomorrow night. So I'm just gonna go solo. I'm just gonna take the metro in after work, train up
Wow.
there, just hang out, and then come back. It's a
Wow.
nice thing
Wow.
about living near a
Wow.
city. So yeah.
Yes, it is because the cult disbanded in 95, but then they got back together in 99.
It's got the same lead singer, which is what really matters because their lead singer's really good.
All right. Yeah, I was The Cure. Yeah, I was thinking of The Cure. Listen, I don't know. Music. Kids today with their music. I don't
The Cult does like she sells Sanctuary and Rise and other songs. I literally only really know the one album.
Okay.
So I've been the last month or so I've been listening to their Spotify. This is, to get a better sense of their catalog, but I'm
Right.
only gonna know like half a dozen songs at most. I don't know what whatever. It doesn't matter.
All right. We'll have fun. That'll be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
So the kid's not going. You're not taking the kid to see the cult.
Nah, I figured I'd leave him here. I'll hang out. I'll
Time to
destroy
start
my-
planning that second birthday party
We are.
while he's still an only child.
We started planning it today.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Trampoline park? Where are you gonna have it?
We'll see. We'll let you know. You'll be invited, of course.
Oh, I hope so.
So
That would be lovely.
we'll keep you posted on that one.
That'd be
But
fun.
Yeah.
Always fun to have children's birthday parties. Anything else popping into your noggin? Any other exciting tales?
No, there's a bunch of news stories like Elon and Twitter and the
Yes. Were
Ford.
you surprised by that?
I don't care. I don't care. And I have no, I don't care. Do you care?
No.
No.
About Elon and Twitter? No, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't bail on Twitter because he was buying it. I didn't care one way or another. It's not going to change the fact that Twitter's a cesspool of ideas. So I don't care.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to own it. And whatever
yeah,
rules they put in, it's their toy. They put in whatever rules,
there you go.
if they
And
own it. What about that deep space thing? You're a science guy. How cool. I saw some of the pictures. They confused me.
James Webb
Pictures from
Space
deep space.
Telescope. All right. So my friend Brad actually was an astronomy major and follows this stuff and is really into it. I'm the science communicator, so
You
I
are a
want to
science
communicate
communicator.
by reading his texts
All right.
explaining it. This is from my friend. And so take it with a grain of salt because this is not a real source. It's literally my friend. My friend likes astronomy. So
Okay.
what the image that it took detected things from 4.6 billion light years away. And he talked about how basically like there's some little parts you can see. There's a red blob.
Yeah.
There are galaxies that you see that are 13 million years old. Oh, wait, no, the red blob like galaxies you see are 13 million years old. That is about 94% or so backwards in time to the Big Bang.
Okay.
The farthest back in time we can see is the cosmic microwave background. I won't get into the rest. But anyway, this is about as far as we can see in infrared with this level of technology. And it can see very, very, very far back in time, essentially, because right, like light travels fast.
Sure.
So I don't know. It's a big deal. I just don't.
It's a big deal.
I don't. I'm not the science guy anymore, so it's fine.
All right.
But
So
no, all seems very exciting.
So that's exciting. You don't care about Twitter. You brought up Biden an info drop.
Yeah, speaking of cesspools, 4chan hackers apparently hacked Hunter Biden's iCloud backup and got like 500 gigabyte dump of all of his like information.
That's what I hope to take.
So they've got all these like videos of him like with crack cocaine and hookers and other documents and all this other stuff and whatever. And yeah, I will wait to see if any of it's real or whatever. But what's troubling is that like Twitter and Reddit seem to be burying any coverage of it. I know it's like alleged, but everything alleged gets covered. And maybe it's some.
Are you saying that the mainstream media is covering something up?
Yeah, I am. I am. And maybe it's some Republican plot or some crazy anarchist and it's all dark and it's like whatever, but like other things don't get treated like this. When things are alleged of notable people, they are not buried. And this is demonstrably already. And it's like, so anyway, tune back into our show next week. If you have not heard a peep about these like allegations, it's just U.S. media is just so propagandized. It's so heavily propagandized. Like, it's just insane. There's people in power and
another primetime hearing coming up this Thursday.
Oh, right. So you go on Reddit and it's like the top thing is like blah, 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 something about Steve Bannon testifying at a trial, but then nothing about like a potential 0.5 terabyte data leak from the son of the president of the United States. Like that is of equal merit and value. That is of equal newsworthiness.
Yeah.
It is alleged. It is a nuclear bomb of data and information. And from what I've seen, it's not trending. It's not getting picked up. You can see in the politics subreddits, it's actually actively being banned from being posted about. Yeah. So it's like, okay, Snopes did a thing and they're like, hey, there's some allegations that came out, but like, there's no like real confirmation. So, stay tuned. So like, maybe it'll get handled, but.
Okay. Well, we'll keep watching.
Yeah. So it's whatever. But I hate when there's just like, it's happening and it just gets like so egregiously buried, and then you're just like,
there is no truth.
There's no truth.
What do you think about I don't think we've talked since the young lady, the former aide, testified in the hearing, the 26-year-old aide. Did you follow
What
any
hearing?
of that? The one, no, we did. When, what hearing? The January 6th hearing, where she said that the former president attacked the Secret Service. Did we talk since then?
No, I haven't heard that. I didn't even know the hearings were still happening.
Oh my God.
I'm so uninterested in January 6th.
How are you uninterested in January 6th?
I don't care.
How can you not be interested in an attack on our democracy? Listen, we both criticize the system, but if this system falls, I don't know what a better system is going to be.
Hyrule seems to work pretty well. You got Zelda, you got Princess Zelda, and then Link saves her from Ganon once in a while, or she's self-empowered in Smash Brothers. So like Hyrule seems well managed.
Is that okay? Wow.
I think socialism is a great idea.
Do you really?
Yep.
All right. Good. Then I'll come over and take your pontoon boat.
Okay, that's how that works. That's how that works.
I don't know. It's just a nice buzzword. People get all upset. They hear it. They all
socialism.
That's right. Your boy Bernie got a shout out from my from my bar. I guess he's not a barber. I don't want to say hairdresser. My stylist. My
stylist,
guy who cuts my hair.
What did he just liked him?
He liked Bernie. He was like you, and I was like, oh, all right. Yeah. No, somehow there was a big, big political conversation at the salon. Yeah. So that was that.
Yeah. No, I got nothing else. We'll be back next week with a lot
anything
more.
else either. Wow, you're bailing fast. Yeah, we're done. No, we are done.
No, listen, Saturday.
Yeah, what?
What am I doing Saturday?
I don't know.
I'm going to I'm going to show Saturday, but Sunday I'll have stories next week because this Sunday I'm going with my wife to the Bristol Renaissance Fair.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait for you to eat a turkey leg. I have a show this week, Sunday. I will put it in the captions. I am I'm doing what they're now calling the Early Bird Special Show, formerly the Geezer Show, this Sunday night at 7 at the Laugh Factory. Use the promo code Early Bird Special to get your tickets. I am part of a 6 or 7 person showcase, very short set, I think 15 minutes, whatever, at the Laugh Factory. And then I will tell you the following weekend, 22nd and 23rd, I will be at Kenosha Comedy Club in the great city of Kenosha, where you can catch me Friday and Saturday night with the wildly hilarious Brian Hicks. We are doing, it's a theme show, Cody, 2 Brians. That's the owner of the club came up with this theme. So I've known Hicks for a long, long time. So we're going to do a show together. That'll be fun. And so next week we'll be back. Cody are you going in, can you, not to spoiler alert, will you be wearing your cloak?
Probably not, because it'll probably be too hot, but I may shop while I'm there for some outfits. So we'll see.
Are you going to dress the baby in some sort of medieval ensemble?
If I had one, I would, but maybe I'll buy him one, and maybe he'll show up at your comedy show. Is it all ages?
Probably not. Not my 15 minutes anyway.
I probably won't go to that.
No, he probably can't come. He does find me very, very entertaining, though.
Yeah, well, yes.
Your son is a great audience for me because I play to 2-year-olds. That's my target demo, and he laps it up like a thirsty dog.
Target.
Oh yeah, because I'm fancy. I have a Target audience.
You have a Target demo.
I do a Target demo. It's all drunk moms in yoga pants. It's my Target demo.
It's the best kind of drunk mom. Except the ones out of yoga pants.
Good morning. All right. Thanks for listening. Thank you for watching. We will talk to you next week. Cody is going to give us all some sort of seizure right now. Don't forget to like, follow, tell people. That's all right. I'm getting nauseous looking at your head doing that.
Bye.